Hey all, Tony Bing here. Hello and welcome to another in-depth review for Marvel Strike Force. Now tonight I am happy to say that we'll be having a look at another X-Men. We will be checking out the awesome Cable because I was lucky enough to get him unlocked in the last Blitz, which was exceptionally hard. Some of the scores that were required to unlock him were really pretty crazy, and I'm hoping this isn't the way it will be for future Blitzes, because I did spend a lot of time on it, and despite that I only got the 1 to 10%, meaning I only have them at 2 stars at the moment. But despite that, I've ranked up all these skills and I've leveled them up so I can get a good feel for them for this video. Now in this video then we will start off with a general overview. This includes where you go to unlock them and also his tags. We follow that up by having a look at his stats. Next up it's the abilities. We then look at the synergies. This is heroes you want to pair him up with and enemies you want to avoid, and then finally we see where he places in the tier list as well. So we'll start off then with the general overview. In regards to unlocking Cable then, at the moment he's only been available via that one very hard fought Blitz, but we do know from a message the developers sent out what will happen going forward is most heroes will be available via Blitz. They then move to Ultimus Orbs, then Premium Orbs, and then likely via story mode as well. So I'm hoping in time we do get an X-Men themed story, but for the time being it's just Blitz, so he will be a bit of a slow farm. Now when we look at his tags, he's got some good ones here. We've got Hero, Cosmic, Tech, Blaster and Mutant. Now the Cosmic one is great for the Cosmic campaign. You've got quite a few synergies with the Tech tag. The Blaster can help out in that Blaster challenge that everyone hates. And then finally you've got the Mutant tag, and we're starting to see some synergies with that tag, and it's only going to get better in future when we get more X-Men coming to the game, something that I really can't wait for. Now with that part of the video covered, we'll have a look at his stats. For the stats here we have 6 in total we'll look at. That's 3 offensive stats and 3 defensive stats, and we've got a rating system of A to F here. I've managed to break down these stats by looking at the maximum and minimum, removing any outliers, and then we break that into the 6 different categories to give us the scaling. Now we'll start off by looking at the offensive stats. When we look at his offensive stats, he has some areas where he does really well here, but there's also some other areas where he can do with a little bit of help off of other heroes. Now for his damage he does really well, he's way up at B so he can hit really hard. His speed is down at E, and this is area where other heroes can help him out, such as Black Widow or Merc Lieutenant with their speed up. You then have his focus at D. Now he doesn't have any debuffs, but he does have the fact on one of his skills he can reduce enemies' speed bar. I'm not actually sure if that is affected, and it can be resisted. If you've noticed it yourself, do let me know in the comments below, but in the testing I've done today I've not yet had any instances where enemies have been able to resist that. Now other parts of his kit that can help out from an offensive perspective are the fact he's got charged on his basic, which can then modify his special. You've then got a nice team up with Deadpool, and the animation on it looks awesome. You have counter, which you can add, and then you've got the fact he can fill up his speed bar as well, but that's something we'll look at a lot more when we do get to the abilities section. Now next up anyway, we'll check out his defensive stats. When we look at his defensive stats, they are a bit on the lower side, but that is to be expected for Blaster and Brawler classes because they're there to put out damage, not necessarily to take damage. Now his health is D, which is certainly on the lower side, but he has really nice high armour, which is awesome. That's way up at A, so as long as you're not going up against a target with high pierce, then you can take a nice amount of damage. And then finally his resistance is D. It's not the lowest, but it can mean that you need to be careful about going up against enemies that have slow or stun in their kit, especially the slow, because if we think back a moment ago, he already has that low attack speed. You don't want him getting slowed down any further. Now with the stats covered, we'll have a look at his abilities. For the abilities here we have 4 in total we look at. It's the basic, special, ultimate and also the passive. Now I'll show off the tooltip of the ability maxed out, and then I'll let you know if it is actually an ability you want to max out or if you want to save your materials for another character. Now the first one we look at, this is Time Sense, which is his passive, and starts off with on spawn all allies gain 5% speed bar. Now this is exceptionally powerful because if you go up against a team of similar characters, let's say it's Quake or Crossbones, this small 5% additional speed bar will allow you to get the ultimates off first. Of course, that's if you're not slowed or you just speed up another team via Black Widow, but if you run them yourself, then it will cancel it out and the extra 5% will give you the edge. So this is really nice. Now on top of this, on turn you have a 30% chance to apply counter to a random mutant ally, so that would be Cable, Wolverine or Deadpool, and also you have a 20% chance to apply counter to a random ally as well. It's a really great passive and I would highly recommend maxing this one out. For his basic, we have a pretty simple single target skill here. This is called Plasma Rifle. So with this you attack the primary target for 340% damage, which is a pretty nice amount, and also you gain charged, and charge becomes relevant when we look at the special, which we will do in just a moment. In regards to how high you want to level this particular skill, I would say you want to max it out. Now the reason for that is maxed out it'll do a nice amount of damage, but also his special and ultimate take quite a few turns to charge, so you will be using the basic very often, so you want it doing as much damage as possible during that time. For the special, we have a skill here whose tooltip I think is potentially as long as one of the Black Panther ones I looked at in the last video. Now this is called Overload. It takes 5 turns to charge and comes fully charged. So with this, you attack the primary target for 220% damage and reduce the turn meter by 50%. So that's a little blue bar you see above enemies' heads, and that fills up to get their turn. So the option to reduce it by 50% is exceptionally good, especially if you use this on slower targets, because it will take longer for their turn meter to fill. Now also with this you attack adjacent targets, so that's one directly to the left and right for 170% damage, and you reduce their turn meter by 10%. In addition to this, if you use this skill when it is charged, then you charge it by simply using your basic first, then you attack targets 2 spaces from the primary target for 170% damage and reduce the turn meter by 10% as well, and then you lose charged. So this essentially means if you hit a target slap bang in the middle of the field, then this will affect all targets. So it's an exceptionally nice skill. Now after level 5 all that happens is you gain additional damage, but the turn meter stays at 50%, so you want to take it up to level 5 minimum. If you're low in crafting materials you can park it there. If you're a Cable fan, then by all means take it up to level 7. For the ultimate, we have a great skill here called Psychic Surge. So it's 6 turns to charge and comes with 4 charges. Now with this you attack the primary target for 530% damage. If Deadpool is your ally, and he should be if you're playing as Cable, then you also gain an assist from Deadpool. Now you don't do additional damage with this assist when I've tested it. I'm not actually sure if this is a bug or not, so I will likely submit a ticket to find out about it. Now even though you don't get the additional damage, what you do get is on kill you fill Cable and Deadpool's turn meter by a whopping 70%, so in a lot of instances after getting a kill you'll more than likely get another turn with Cable and Deadpool as well. So this is really a fantastic ability. Now in regards to how high you want to take this, at level 5 you get the 70% turn meter, before that it's down at 50%, so take it up to level 5 minimum. If you're wanting to do additional damage on Cable, then max it all the way out. Now with all them covered, we'll have a look at the synergies. When we look at allies that Cable can help out with, he can really contribute to any team. Now allies in particular it will really work great with would be Deadpool and Wolverine, because they've got the mutant tag, so they've got the chance of getting the counter attack. You then have Quake and Black Widow who have slow and speed up. That works exceptionally well when you're also reducing their turn meter. That can be a really potent combination. Now next up you have Iron Man and Rocket Raccoon. They work well because of tech tags. Iron Man will give him additional crit chance and Rocket Raccoon will give him additional damage. Now with that covered, we'll have a look at the enemies you want to avoid. Cable then has 2 real weaknesses. You have the fact he's slow, and also his survivability comes from his high armour. Now in regards to him being slow, you don't want him to get slowed down even more, and that's where Quake can give him problems. in regards to his high armour, you have to watch out for enemies that have a high amount of pierce in their kit. So that would include Wolverine, Black Panther, Korath and also Yondu there. Now with that covered, what we'll do is we'll have a look at the section everyone's probably been waiting for. This will be the tier list. For this tier list here, we have 5 different ratings. The most powerful characters are classed as a mega, they're on the left hand side. As we go from left to right, they get weaker until we're all the way down at level 1. Now regarding Cable, I would say that he's most definitely an alpha character. If we look at his positives, you've got that fantastic passive with a 5% extra turn meter, which can make a huge difference if you're fighting a similar team that have high powered ultimates, allowing you to get your ultimate off first. You've then got the counter synergy with mutants, and the mutants are pretty nice in the game at the moment, and in time that's only going to get better. You then have his 2 additional skills that affect the turn meter, that's his special and the ultimate. You've also got the huge amount of damage that his ultimate does as well, and you do get it relatively early in the match. And then also you have the fact that it synergizes very well with Deadpool, and we can see that Deadpool is way up there as an Omega rated character for me. And then finally you've got his exceptionally high armour, so that means as long as you're not going up against an enemy who has high pierce, then he can actually take a nice amount of damage. Now in regards to his downsides, you've got the low attack speed, but we can fix that through Merc Lieutenant and Black Widow. And you have got the reliance on armour, so armour is great as long as you're not going up against enemies that have piercing. If you do, it can give you trouble, but in a way it almost balances itself out because you just need to be careful who you're going up against. Now that is in-depth review number 27 finished. I can't believe I've actually covered as many as that. It's really been pretty fun doing it, but it's been a lot of work as well. Now next up we do have, let's see, it'll be Bullseye we will be covering. I'll follow that up with Punisher because when I put a poll up on YouTube, these were the 2 highest rated characters, so I'll do those 2 next. And as always, thanks for tuning in. Do let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you all again soon.